Welcome to Roxtalks, the podcast that helps network marketers grow their business on social media. I know, social media, network marketing. And today we're talking about numbers. You're like, what? Make it make sense, because it all does make sense. It's all part of you growing your business, finding success, and really honestly finding happiness in your business. So I would not have a nice long conversation about numbers again on my own. But this is the time of year to be talking about this. And so that's why I invited my business bestie, you know her, Megan Sumrell, to the podcast to talk about all things. Now, Megan is a time management and productivity coach. So you're probably wondering, where do the numbers come in? You'll find out later. She's a math major. And when it comes to network marketing, there's no one I have met that has been so finely in tune with numbers from day one. I've seen a lot of network marketers after the fact go, oh crap, I should have been checking my numbers, and they're on it now, but she has been on it since day one. And so I'm really thrilled for you to come, or for you to join it and listen to this conversation. She also was a lot of inspiration and gave me a lot of expertise and advice in putting together the CEO of You Business Tracker bundle. So we're going to talk about numbers. We're going to talk about what matters to you. And if you're a number adverse person, I encourage you, we will not make you do any math on this podcast. Lean in and listen in, because it's going to be very powerful. We'll be right back. Megan Sumrell. You know what? It's been like way too long since you've been on the Roxtalks podcast. That's a fact.
I can't remember, just because we talk so much. As long as I get my daily fix of Roxanne, I'm good.
I mean, I feel like you're always like a seasonal installation. And I know people think, oh, they're going to talk about productivity, because we should be. And wait a moment, sidebar, like halftime, you have you have something coming up next week. Let's just talk about that first, being with. Because this will be airing
next week. Yeah. So it's totally free. It's called Master Your Morning. I'm calling it a mini workshop, because you're actually going to do some work, hence workshop. But the longest training I'm giving all week long, one of the days will be 30 minutes. Most of the days it's only 20. And the whole purpose of this is to help you create a morning routine specifically for you, based on your personality type and your unique kind of life situation that you're in right now. Because when you get the right morning routine in place, it's a game changer, but it has to be one unique to yourself. And so I'm on a mission to help people do this, because I'm so tired of people telling other people what their morning routine should be, because I know what works for me does not work for a lot of people. So that's what it's all about. I'm super excited.
Love it. She's on a mission. And so when they're listening to this, it's going to be like Wednesday. So it kicks off on Monday. But if you're listening on Wednesday, you can still join.
Absolutely. You can just go to megansumrell.com/master your morning. You'll be able to sign up there, pop right into the Facebook group, because you can go catch up on the replays and get caught up. Wednesday's kind of a good day to get caught up, because by then you will have the pieces in place to start actually putting your morning routine together. So good timing.
Fantastic. And I think it's important I was watching you live the other day. I woke up and I was like, Megan's on live. Let me go watch her. And I'm like, oh, wait, I need a new morning routine. I think we all need to refresh our morning routines, probably quarterly, just like do a check-in with them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. And where I tell people, like, hey, this is a sign that it's time for you to think about your morning routine. If you find every morning feels different and you're like, well, some days I do this, some days I do that, that means it's probably time for a reset. If you find that like you're not looking forward to your morning routine. Now, notice I said morning routine, not the alarm going off. I mean, I don't look forward to my alarm going off at 5:20, but I look forward to the routine because I know it sets me up for success. But if you find that like the morning routine, you're just like, oh God, I don't want to do this. It's time for a refresh. Or anytime you've had a big schedule change, like for us this year, brand new school, 1 hour earlier wake up time for my daughter, like I had to scrap it and get a whole new one in place.
What's the difference between a morning routine and a morning task list?
I love you for that. Most people will say, oh yeah, I've got a morning routine. And they're like, I don't like it. I'm like, well, tell me about it. So I'll say, well, I get out of bed and then I go get the kids up and then I got to feed the dog and then I have to make everybody breakfast and then I pack their lunches. I get a load of wash in, I get ready for work and then we head out the door. I'm like, Yeah, that's a task list, because those are all things that are serving others and that probably don't light your fire and fill your cup. Maybe you're a magic unicorn and it does, but a morning routine are activities that the sole purpose is to make sure your energy tank is full and you feel like, for me, I need a hot minute before people start talking to me. So whatever it is for you that allows you to set forward into your day in kind of that, I got this frame of mind.
I love that. I was thinking about that because I heard you talking about that live and I'm like, oh yeah, even I need a refresh of like a dose of Megan and productivity. But then that I had 30 minutes like for me time, right? In the morning, I was like, yes. And all of a sudden I hear a crash, bing, bang. And I probably shouldn't have. I didn't hear anyone crying. Baylor wasn't crying. Everything. I should have probably just left the crash, bing, bang alone. But no.
How can you?
I went into the kitchen and for whatever reason, Scott could not figure out the Nespresso machine. It wasn't working, right? And I showed him how to clean it, but it wasn't working. It needed a descaling. That took the rest of it like sucked up my 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, because descaling an espresso is no joke. Not to mention you got to spend 10 hours to find the right YouTube video for your model to figure out how, and then the whole setup. Yeah, it's hard.
And then trying to connect it with your Wi-Fi and it doesn't really connect. You do it over and over again. Finally, I said, we're not doing this. I'm like, listen, and he was like, I'm like, what am I? Do I look like your IT? He's like, that's what you signed up for. And I'm like, I thought I signed up for a relationship. Shame on me. Anyway, got back to it that night. Nespresso's sending us a new machine. To their credit, at 7:30 at night, they are open, they answer, and they were very helpful. So
excellent customer service.
Yes, but I will say, I'm like, morning routine, I need that. And I need everyone else to not think, oh, she's up. That means I can go bother her.
Yes.
Because that's not a thing.
Nope. No, it is not.
No. In fact, we're recording this in the early and I'm like, they better not wake up because my day has started. They need to sleep the rest of the night. But this is not why we came here. So thank you. No. But I feel like we need to check off the box of talking about productivity because what you have going on is so important. And I also feel like as we are in the holiday season, if we don't have our morning routine taken care of, it can suck the joy out of even the happiest time of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what else can suck the joy out of things? Do you like this segue?
A lot of things. So where are you going with
money,
this
money,
one?
money.
Oh yeah.
Money. Not exactly money, but finances.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that when I just said finances, some people are like, I gotta go. Oh, well, I'm busy. Okay, I'll go help with an espresso. But I invited you here because there are a few people in my life that love finances and can talk like normal humans. I have finance lovers who can't talk like normal humans, but you can do both. And you and I have a lot in common. Love of finances is not one of them, but we do have a love of wanting to make sure that network marketers figure out their finances.
Yes. And when we're talking about finances, that does involve numbers. Yeah. And that is I was a math major. I love numbers. And so I love geeking out on this, but talking about it in a way that makes sense so that other people can learn you may not ever love numbers, but you can learn to appreciate them and the power that they provide for you in your business.
I love that. And I think also, even if you don't like them, you can be good at it. I mean,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
So I think people think, oh, I'm not good at numbers.
I hate it.
No, it's true. And I think people think, oh, I don't like numbers that way, therefore I'm not going to do them. I don't like numbers. I blame my statistician father who made us do math problems all the time for that.
How did I not know your dad was a statistician?
You know what? I'd forgotten you were a math major. So
stats are my fave. That's one of my favorite classes.
The two of you should have a great conversation about all those things. Yeah. But we still need to know our numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been in network marketing, just to remind everyone, you've been in the world of network marketing. How many years would you credit yourself, just out of curiosity?
Like hardcore, maybe 8.
Okay.
Has it been 8? Yeah, about that.
And I have to say, when you and I first met, we met because what's so funny, because I heard of you because your cousin and I
Yes.
went to church together, right? So I'd heard of this. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. I don't know if she's, and then suddenly you and I were like paired together in a group of leaders
That's
helping
right.
our teams
Yep.
grow. Do you remember that?
I do. I do.
And you stood out because you were always very pragmatic.
Yes.
And you're pragmatic because it was always about the numbers. Like you wouldn't do specials or things unless it made number sense.
Correct.
Did you learn that from your upline?
No.
Did you learn that from your company?
No.
I didn't know the answer. Just Roxtalks listeners, did not know the answer to those questions, but I thought they were worth asking. What gave you the sense to like make sure you're looking at that from the beginning?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say something, but I don't mean to say this in like a mean way, but to me, it was just common sense. And I would say a lot of that has to do with my upbringing and my family. We didn't spend money we didn't have. We didn't live outside of our means. We had big things. We knew the power of saving for them. And so I just thought, I mean, that was just normal. It was a normal way of living for me. Was don't know where your money's going. Be smart about how you're spending it. Make choices. Don't go buy a house that you can't afford. Don't go buy a car if you can't afford the car payment. So apply all of that to your business. Don't go running specials and having deals when at the end of the day, you're going to end up maybe breaking even if you're lucky, or making some money. But then if you broke it down to how much time you spent on it, you were making like $1.25 an hour. I can go do better than that at a store down the street.
Yeah, that $1.25 an hour thing, just like, because I've done the math before of like the amount of work I put in, and then it was, I made more than $1.25, but I was like, oh, like I need to be watching that. I just need to be mindful of that.
Yeah. And maybe you choose to for a very strategic reason. I mean, there were times where I did things that I'm like, at the end of the day, what's coming home in my pocket isn't not great, but there was a very strategic reason why I did it. So I was okay with it. But again, I knew the numbers behind it.
Right. Right. And that's huge. Because I think for me, and this is even like in other franchises and business I've had, when you sit down and do the taxes and you do the profit and the loss, and if the loss is higher than all of a sudden you're like, wait a moment, I did all that work and how much did I make? Wait, what? Yeah. It can be really sobering. And what I found is it can make you look differently at what you're doing going forward, but not in a way of like being pragmatic, in a way of like a little bit of bitterness in a way. Because you're like, what? And I think also I hear so many times network marketers having conversations with their significant others, where their significant others are like, you've spent so much time away from family, this, that, how much money did you bring in? And it's like, please, a cup of tea.
I had that conversation with my husband many times, because when I first started, I was still working corporate as well. And the job that I was working at the time, we did a lot of government contracting, which means you get paid every hour you work. Like if you work 48 hours, you're getting paid 48. It's not like most corporate jobs where you have your salary. If you work overtime, whatever. So he would see me at that time, working in the evenings and weekends, since that was the only time I had, and knew what I was making. And his comment was always like, if you just worked another hour at your corporate job, you'd be making a heck of a lot more money than the hour you are there. But I was new in the business. And so I had to share the vision. I'm like, yes, agreed. But look at the numbers of what's happened over the last 6 months. Look at the trends that are going. So yeah, today I'm not making the hourly rate from my company job, but if I continue at the rate I'm going, 2 years from now, I could be making twice what I'm making hourly rate wise. So at least, but again, I could show the numbers and we could have a really powerful conversation around that.
Yeah, that's so important because when we all start, we have those moments of, wait, how much are we making an hour doing this? But our trends, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, how much am I making an hour? But you said trends. And I guess my question to the listeners would be, how do you even know your numbers to see your trends? Like, could you look very quickly and say, this is my projection because I can see how I'm growing. Do you even know that number?
Most people do not. And I feel like this is a gaping hole in the network marketing community as a whole that we are not doing. The companies, and I think it starts with the company, because a lot of people stumble into network marketing, become very successful. No one's taught them that. So it needs to start at the company level, that they are teaching and educating the emerging leaders in their company about numbers in business and finance around that as well, so that they can then be empowered to do that education as they continue to build their teams. And so I think that this is an area for improvement that the network marketing community as a whole really needs to get behind. So I absolutely love what you have built, Roxanne, and what you are now on a mission to get in people's hands, because it is going to empower them to just be a super savvy business owner. And I'd love to talk more about what you've built, because when people understand how easy it is, it equips you with incredible knowledge. And that's where I think people get, they shy away from it, because they're like, they start hearing all these number or terms and phrases that they don't understand. And they're like, for the love of God, what's it? Which is gross and which is net? I still get those backwards, like all the time, right? And so because we hear that, I mean, literally, I'm not lying. Just last week, I had to look it up. I'm like, wait, which one's gross?
It's the net, because the net catches everything. Come on.
You think that, but you're like, no. So because of that, we're like, forget it. So if you can just learn to let go of that and get to the just core basics of some key pieces of, just treat it as information. So let go of the term numbers, some key pieces of information you need to have as a business owner. And then when you see the power of it, you will believe in it and be glad you're doing it, even if you don't love it.
I love that so much. There's so much in there. So first and foremost, it would be remiss of me not to say that you were an inspiration for what you're talking about, the CEO of Use Business Tracker Bundle. I can spot problems and go, here, we need a solution, but like where to start is also an issue. And Megan has been amazing as giving me a base of where to start, and then also
you took it and turned it into almost like a piece of software. I mean, I was like, when you showed me what you took with my like brain dump and then you showed me what you had, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Well, you also gave some good advice about like, tweak this. So like teamwork makes the dream work. And I'm a big believer of like, get the smartest people in the room. I am not the smartest person in the room. I'm the smartest Roxanne in the room. I mean, like me, like Roxanne Wilson. But you get the people who you know and trust and who are experts in a room, and magic can happen. So thank you for that. Seriously.
My pleasure.
Because I know already people are loving it and using it and all the things. But I want to go back to something you also said about how the industry, it should start at the industry level. And I agree with that. Neither of us have taken on the battle of like trying to talk to companies about this per se. Maybe we're going about it backwards, but we're getting a solution out there. But, I was thinking the NFL, when someone gets drafted to the NFL, they go through this like financial university is what I'm going to call it, basically.
Really?
They sit them down and they talk about finances. They talk about prenups. They talk about like all the things, because the reality of most NFL players are not going to play that long, but they're going to make a buku amount of money and that will take them, beyond if they know how to invest it and how to save it and how, spend it on all your friends and your family and all the things. I think it's interesting. They get a little mini business education going in, and there's no harm. I think every single profession should have that. And if you think and if you think network marketing, if you're listening going, well, network marketing is not a profession, it's a side hustle. It's all a profession. I don't care if you're an Uber driver, you should probably have some education on the finances of Uber driving before you do it.
And I think there's two key things here that we're talking about. One is understanding the operational information about your business, so you make smart choices as a business owner. And then second is financial education for when you actually start making good money, so that you're not one of those horrible stories, whether it's an actor I mean, we've seen it everywhere, right? Famous people, however they get their fame, who all of a sudden they're gajillionaires. Yes, that's a real number. And then they wake up one day and they're flat broke.
Well, listen, we saw it on Lula Rich, and we see it. You and I have seen it with our own eyes in network marketing.
Yeah. And again, that's not unique to network marketing. So that's where I think there's the, hey, let's understand how to track the right bits of information to make good choices as a business owner, which is what the bundle you've built is all about, and one passion of mine. But then the second is get the financial education so you don't end up that way.
Absolutely. So you want to talk about the bundle, you said. Okay, what do you want to talk about?
It's so good.
Gracias. I appreciate that. But so, well, okay, before we go dive in a little deeper with it, you said something. You said having your finances or that education. So when you get the buku bucks, for someone who's listening to this saying, I'm just starting in network marketing, Roxanne and Megan, I've made maybe I make $100, $200 a month. Do I really need to be doing this? What would you say to them?
The tracking your operational business. Hells yes, you need to be doing this. And I'll tell you why. Well, there's so many reasons why. First of all, even if you are what a lot of people would label as a hobbyist, I like to have a couple, I'm just looking to make a couple $100, get some free products, this, that, and the other. But you want to do this for a while. It is really, really powerful, particularly after you've tracked some of the numbers we're going to talk about over a whole year. When you're looking forward to the next year, to be able to look back and see, okay, look, summer months, depending upon your industry, you may find that your summer months are abysmal. You may find your summer months are awesome. You may see a huge spike in sales around certain promotions or certain times of the year, so that you can plan accordingly. Because maybe your goal is to, hey, I just want to make some grocery money. But if you can see, and you're counting on that money coming in, but you may see, in one of my businesses, August this last year, August 2021, I would just like to forget about it. It was just so bad. But guess what? The year before, August was really bad too. So now as I set forth with my game plan for 2022, you know what? I'm not counting on August. So what goals do I want to set? How do I want to mentally prepare myself for the year, knowing August, I'm not going to plan for that being a great revenue generator. Yeah. So I don't care if you're talking a couple $100 a month or thousands of dollars a month. Information is power, so that you can prepare and not be caught off guard. Oh crap, I didn't see that coming. Also, the other big reason, no matter what size business you want to track some of these numbers, is you do not want to have a huge surprise come tax time. Mm-hmm. I see it all the time. People don't understand. They haven't tracked their expenses against their income, against their revenue. And then all of a sudden they get that 1099 and they're like, oh crap. And then they go to fill out their taxes, and now they owe a ton of money that they were not prepared to owe because they didn't understand the basics of how that information works.
Yeah, so true. So true. So do you want to, I didn't even think, should I open it up? So you what should I do? How do you want to talk about it? I know you want to talk.
So I think well, let's talk about the couple key points of information that go in there, because if we can talk about it without you guys looking at it, you're going to see just how basic it is. That will make you go, oh, okay, I could do that. Because the minute we go open a spreadsheet, guarantee you everyone's going to be like, oh, I don't do spreadsheets. Guess what? You own a business. These are things that you do as a business owner. So yourself. The first one, the most basic one, is what is the actual revenue currently month to date that you have in your business? Whether you are a team of one or you've got a team of 30 people under you. And so at its heart, that is one of the core pieces of information that I believe you should be tracking daily. I still track this daily in both of my network marketing businesses.
Oh, you're so good.
Yes, I do. That is one of my morning routines, like business routines, every single morning. Now, do I once in a blue moon miss a day because I'm on vacation with my family? Yeah. So if I were to pull up my tracker, you would see a few blank cells here and there over the course of the year because I missed a day or two. But again, that's not because I do it every day. When I miss a day or two, it's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are tracking and give me some examples of what different companies call it today. I don't even know.
Volume is a big personal volume. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So your entire team, again, whether you're a team of one, you might only be tracking your own sales volume or your entire organization. By tracking that every single day and literally just typing the number into a little square, we can all do that. And then having that as it starts to build month over month, and then for me, year over year, you start to glean a ton of information around that. We've talked on previous episodes, and I know, Roxanne, you handle this very well in your community on, I hate the month end madness thing where everybody the last day of the month starts selling like everything they own just to try and make some numbers or whatever.
And bugging everyone they've ever known.
Yeah. Well, even though, I'm against it, I've always preached for my team not to do it. But when I'm tracking my numbers like that, I see trends in what happens in my overall volume the last 3 days of every month, such that I can now predict when it's the day before, like we just finished October, right? So on October, now it was Halloween, so it was a little different. So I was like, on October 28th, I could look at my numbers and I was like, yeah, these are probably going to go up about 8.5% in the next 3 days. And guess what? They went up 8.2%. And I knew this because I could see month over month over month, this is the bump that I can expect from my team volume at the end of every month. So then I'm not in panic mode. I'm not freaking out. Am I going to hit this? Am I not? Because the data is telling me information that allows me to predict with pretty good accuracy what's going to happen. Again, it also allows you to look at seasonality. The more you track this, it allows you to understand what is the impact on your business when you run a promotion. So if you're testing out a promotion for yourself or testing out, how you talk about a new product, or maybe you're launching into Reels for the first time, and you can make a note of the date that you did that, and then you can see the numbers. Now you have information to let you know what's working and what's not. Yeah. Because so many people will be like, oh, I ran this sale. It was great. I got 12 orders. But then if they're not tracking the numbers and the expense that goes with it, they're really not getting the full picture on what worked well in your business and what didn't, so that you know what to repeat and what to maybe not do again.
That's so important, I think, to know that, and also see like where the bump comes. Like if you have a big sale in 1 month, you should be looking whether if your product is a repeat, people purchase it again every month or every 2 months. Yep. You should be looking to see did that make a significant bump in my business in general?
Even like I'll have months where I'll be looking at my numbers and I'm like, wow, I am really down for October, November. But then I'll go back and I'll see I put a little comment like, oh, this is when we released the whatever new product. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not going to beat myself up. I forgot that big promotion happened this month.
Exactly.
But now I can say, what can I do? Like let me get creative on what I might do.
Exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if you were mentioning August is a bad month for you in general, that also gives you an opportunity to go, okay, wait, August is not the best month for me. What kind of incentive can I offer what can I do to incentivize people to purchase in August to maybe bump that up a little bit?
Yep.
But you don't know if you don't know.
No, exactly. And another thing that I see a lot of opportunity for people to make some tweaks on is when you know what your best sellers are in your business, the ones that people are going to buy no matter what, like this product is their lifeline. I see so many people running discounts and promotions around their best sellers that everybody's going to buy no matter what. Like if I were selling, I don't know, like let's say I had the best pair of shoes, and these were shoes that everyone who bought them was like best pair of shoes ever. And I'm getting referrals and people are ordering them in every color. Why would I go discount that pair of shoes? Instead, why don't I offer an order bump incentive? Hey, when you go get these shoes, I'll let you buy this other product for 10% off, maybe a product that I'd like to get more motion on. But I see people so much in this space taking their best sellers, the stuff people are going to pay full price for, discounting it. And I'm like, oh, you're killing me, Smalls. So again, but you have to know that. You have to know that information and have that data on your business to make, like, the store I shop at here all the time. There are products I get that are literally never on sale, but they bundle. Hey, get this, and then you can get 10% off of that. So they're never giving away their best sellers at a discount ever.
That's really key. And I think it kind of goes along with the hero product, but not exactly, because that might not be your hero product. But if it is, and you can get people to buy it without a discount, then, or maybe you offer it to people who they're weary, so they get the discount, and then, but you never give them a discount on it again, because once they're in.
Yep.
So
yep.
That's really good stuff. So what's the next piece of information that you think is vital?
Oh, there's so, well, understanding your expenses versus your income versus your revenue.
Huge.
That is huge. Again, and we touched on this in the Lula Rich thing. I don't know any other industry where people go and announce all over social media about their paychecks. I mean, thought never crossed my mind in corporate. You get paid to do your job. But what people are doing is they're going out there, and I even see this in the online space. And Roxanne, you and I've talked about this a lot as well. People talking about, oh, I ran a webinar and made $200,000, but what they're not saying is I spent $190,000 in advertising.
And I was like, and how much did you spend on Facebook ads for that, please?
Exactly.
Can you show me the receipts?
And so people will get super, and it is powerful. I remember that first paycheck I got when I was like, oh, this might mean, like, it was over $1,000. My first month in business, you start to get excited. Then I'm like, oh, wait, but I just spent $1,000 to buy into the business. So now I'm, I've broken even,
which is still amazing.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, it was fantastic. But everybody gets so hung up, they will literally basically make $0 to say that they got a $5,000 paycheck, or they earned the trip or earned the car. And if that's what you want to do because you really want to go on that trip, great. But you need to know that.
Knowledge is power.
That maybe, and I made some choices to get some incentives when I was really close to say, yeah, it's worth it for me to do it. But I understood very clearly what I was doing.
Right.
And so, and those expenses, these are the things that people don't think about, which baffles me. If you have to pay for your back office, like a monthly fee for your back office, that's an expense. If you have to order products, if you're required to order products, that's an expense.
And can we stop there for a second? Because I think when people hear that, they think inventory, like I'm LuLaRoe and I've got leggings.
Yeah.
That is not what we mean. That is one way. Yes, you need to track that. But if you have like a minimum you have to hit of inventory to be commissionable in a certain way, that needs to be tracked.
Yes. And any, all the 8,000 disclaimers. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. Those are all those
I'm not
things.
your lawyer. Disclaim.
All of that.
Okay.
Chances are if you are using the products that you are representing, there are ways in which you can probably count those as an expense for your taxes as well. I'll just leave that there.
Please see your accountant.
If you are purchasing samples, those are an expense. Mailing them out, the envelope that it goes in is an expense. The stamp,
the pen that you use to write.
I buy envelopes and note cards that I only use for mailing out thank yous or samples, so that when I buy them, I can go log that whole pack of 50 envelopes from Amazon as an expense. The mileage that you're driving, if you go, I don't go to the post office anymore. I use Pirate Ship. Everyone should use Pirate Ship. But if you're doing mileage to go deliver products or to drive to someone's house to do a show, that is an expense.
The phone that you're using.
Yes.
To text and DM and post.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to like So there's the expenses that you legitimately would not occur, like you would not incur unless you were in business, like the samples, the envelopes, the postage, all of that. Those are the ones you really, really, really need to track so that at the end of that month, you would say, if I didn't have this business, I wouldn't have bought these.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that we really need to zero in on to understand how much money are you actually making.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, yes, expense your phone, but would you have your phone if you weren't in business? Chances are yes. So I wouldn't include that in a, am I making money or not conversation with yourself. Use it for tax purposes by all means. But again, see your CPA. But this is where people get so excited about, oh, I got that $300 paycheck. Whereas if they went and looked at everything that they did, for some people, they might have only made $20
Yeah.
profit.
We don't write down our expenses.
Nope.
We don't do that. And so we get, and because that dopamine hit of making money comes for some people twice a day, comes once a month, comes once a week, we don't think about what we're spending in that moment. And I don't know that everyone's tracking the amount of money they're making either.
No, they're not. And this is what makes like the spreadsheet, because most people, again, they're like, well, I'll just throw all the receipts in a box, right? Here's what makes the system that you've set up, what's its official name?
The CEO of You Business Tracker Bundle.
Business Tracker. Yeah, I love that. Perfect name. So your business tracker is just something that's open all the time. Like I have them in my business. They're literally sitting here open on my desktop so that every day it literally takes me all of 30 seconds to log into my back office, to update my current volume. And then when I get my credit card statement, I have a separate credit card that is solely for the use of that business only. The only thing I use it for, because it makes keeping my expenses that much easier. So then when my credit card statement comes in, all I'm doing is basically entering it right into that tracker. So that's maybe worst case scenario, 7 minutes of my life once a month. And then the beauty of the business tracker is it's going to do the quote math, meaning third grade level addition and subtraction, guys. Here, we're not talking algebraic differential equations, quadratic equations. You don't have to do that. You just need to know how to add and how to subtract. And then it's going to do that for you so that you can quickly see, here's what I made. So when you get paid, you enter that. And here's what I spent. And look, here's the difference. This is what I really made this month. And people make it out like it's this huge, mysterious, oh, the books. Dude, it's adding and subtracting.
One of the things I love about the business tracker bundle is that the dashboard.
Yes.
Because the dashboard will literally show you graphically, if you don't want to do the numbers, where you are. And it also show you the number of expenses and income right next to each other.
Right there.
There's no question about it, month over month over month.
Yeah. And so it's right there. So when you're staring at that, now when you're deciding what to do, what promo you might want, what sale you might want, maybe you had your eye on that thing you wanted to go buy. Maybe you're like, maybe I shouldn't. You make smart choices. You are now acting like the CEO of your business.
Because you are. And we're not detracting from spending money on your business or deciding you want to invest in certain ways. We just want you to know what you're spending, know what you're making, so that you can make that informed decision. Go, yeah, I made it from a space of knowing that I was going to spend more of my money on my business this month than what I was making. Not that I had no idea. I thought I'd do this and all of a sudden it'd be great. Because right now, and I'm going to go on a little soapbox, this is the month where you're going to be invited by your uplines and your sidelines to participate in all sorts of holiday events and Black Friday specials and things. And a lot of them will require you to put money in, or you to give rebates back, or you to give gifts. It's going to cost you money. And what happens right now, I see it time and time again, is then when December hits and December's over and you are doing the books, you're like, oh my gosh, how much did I spend during the holiday season? And how much did I get returned for that? I didn't even realize. I hear it over and over again. So for you to start now with your numbers and see what you're spending and see what you're making, you can make that decision and say, yes, I want to participate in this event or that event, and not be blowing in the wind with, well, they say this is going to be cool, so I've got to do it.
And if you are someone that is wired the way Roxanne and I are, we like ourselves some goals, right? We love to set targets and then be like, I'm going till I hit it.
Blowing it out of the water, baby. Here it comes.
Yeah. And so that's what I love about this dashboard, because you can, with the business tracker, set some goals for yourself and then visually see, how close am I to that? So how amazing would it be for you if you're someone that, like, you can be accountable to yourself, or maybe even got a buddy, you guys have set up your tracker together, and maybe this is the month you're like, this is the month I'm finally I'm going to make, not like I'm going to profit $1,000 this month. I'm doing whatever it takes to make that happen. Well, literally every day, because you're putting your expenses in, because you're putting in your revenue, you're putting in that top line volume, every day you can see, how close am I? How close am I? How close am I? And then you can let that fuel you to keep doing the things that, I mean, we all have days we don't want to, right? I mean, we just do. But when I have that data in front of me, that information in front of me, man, that's inspiring. Right? I mean, it's like kind of like when you're, hypothetically speaking, you've maybe lost the handle a little during COVID and after, and put on some pounds you wished you didn't have.
Hypothetically.
And you were starting to kind of get back on track. And all of a sudden you get on that scale and you're like, I'm two numbers away from where I was before all this started. That helps fuel me to make smart choices, right? Well, same goes with this. You see those numbers, it fuels you to do amazing things.
I love that. It's so very important. And you'll see little surprises in there. The reason it's called a bundle is because it tracks different aspects of your business that are important. But they all kind of work together as well too. So you get like 7 trackers, and inside those 7 trackers, it's all there for you. One of the things that I was really excited about, it may not sound very numerical, was the goal tracker. Because in order to get to those numbers, you got to set some goals. And what will surprise you when you get your tracker is the things that you're asked to make goals for. It may not be something you thought was obvious. I mean, we always think, oh, volume. Yeah, I want to make X amount. But there's some nuances that get you to that volume that are incorporated into that. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. And what's great, the other hidden gem in that goal tracker is, let's say you set goals because you thought, okay, if I could just do these things, that's going to put $10,000 in my pocket. Now, I go big. I always go big with my numbers.
Yeah.
Now let's say the month ends and those little not little, but those goals that you'd set for yourself, you hit each one of those, but you didn't have the $10,000. That's powerful information to know, okay, these are not the right activity. These are not the activities that I thought was going to have that big of an impact. So now you learn, when I do these activities, maybe you got 8,500 instead of 10,000. Mm-hmm. Well, now you can harness that power so that if you want to hit 10,000 next month, maybe you need to up some of those goals a little bit, whatever those activities are, to say, okay, I need to do a little bit more of that to hit that 10,000. So this is how you learn what is actually moving the needle in your business, because you're tracking all those pieces of information.
So important. So important. I love this. I
could literally talk.
I know
all
you can.
Day,
I know. This is just the beginning of the marathon. Just kidding, everyone. What would you say to anyone who's on the fence about whether they need to track their numbers?
I mean, why are you on? I guess I would ask you, why are you on the fence? Why? And if your answer is, I think the only acceptable reason to say, I don't want to track my numbers, is if you went, I'm trying to not say a bad word. I really couldn't give a hoot about whether I make money or not, or if I lose money. And maybe that's you. Maybe you do you, boo.
I don't even think that's a reason. It's still good to know.
But if you really, like, if you're just like, you know what, I'm a gazillionaire, I could care less if I make money or not. maybe that's an okay reason.
You still got to do taxes. You still got to.
I know. Again, I'm struggling to come
I know.
up. This is how hard it is.
I threw it out there like it was like an easy question. And I'm like, well, this is a question that makes me think, because I can't think of a reason. And when we're sitting here in a world of, it's really interesting. And last week's podcast was, or last week's, 2 weeks ago, was on the Great Resignation. And
that was a good one.
Hey, thank you. And just seeing what's happening, you're attracting, there are people that are looking at network marketing right now that came from the corporate world. Please don't think that you're going to be the upline for someone and not know your numbers that's coming from the corporate world, where they look at and know numbers and know how much they're making on a regular basis. Like, treat it like a business. If you want,
even if you call yourself a hobbyist, you don't want to get screwed at tax time. Like, maybe you choose not to max out the goal tracker part of the business bundle because you're in more of a hobbyist frame of mind. Well, you need to track your revenue and your expenses and your volume. Like, there is no reason why anyone should not be tracking that. And to your point on, with the Great Resignation, I know when I was really in a large business building mode, I would pull up my spreadsheet and share with people the real truth about the business. And I would show them what my numbers were those first 6 months in. They weren't awesome compared to someone making a 6-figure salary in the corporate world. But what they could see was that percentage growth. And that would get them excited. And so they would appreciate the fact that I wasn't making these ridiculous, I'm going to make you a millionaire next year claims with them, but I was showing them, hey, here's the power in what I'm doing over here. Look at the growth, like the growth projections based on true data that I have. Like, that's an exciting conversation to have with the right person.
So good. Megan, you are the right person, by the way. And thank you so much. Thank you, Business Bestie, for coming to talk about finances, because nobody does it better, for sure. For real.
For everybody listening, like, you get it, right? It's not rocket science. And I'm allowed to say that because I've worked with rocket scientists. Like, that was hard. Yes, that was hard. I don't do rocket science. We can all do this. We just can't.
I love it. If you do not have a CEO of You Business Tracker bundle, simply go to ceobusinesstracker.com and get it. And you know what we're doing, Megan? I guess, when is this recording? Yeah. So we decided we're just going to keep the Black Friday price through Black Friday.
Love it.
It's literally $47 all month long to grab your tracker and get tracking.
So here's why the timing of this is so good. You're going to have the end of November and the whole month of December to get comfortable with this, to use it, to see how easy it is, to get it part into your daily habit. Then you're going to have it to think about your 2022 goals and start mapping them out. And boom, January 1, like, you're in it to win it. Like, you have everything that you need set up for it. So I think the timing of it's awesome.
100%. I love that as well too. And you get updates. You get the updates. It's a no-brainer in a lot of ways. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your brain with us. So appreciate you. If you want to find Megan, just go to megansumrall.com or on Instagram at Megan Sumrall.
That's where I am.
And meet her for her morning.
Yeah.
Your morning next week, or this week, as you're listening to it this week. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
I warned you that'd be a great conversation. Isn't she fantastic? And hopefully the idea of numbers sounds a little more palatable to you right now. As I mentioned before, if you'd like to get the CEO of You Business Tracker bundle, it is on sale right now for only $47. You can get it at ceobusinesstracker.com, ceobusinesstracker.com, or just look at your podcast show notes and you'll see the link in there to get it. A little behind the scenes for me. New endeavors and things going on in my life. I'll tell you about that in a little bit, but it's November. It is November, and I do feel like it came like a freight train and it's here. October flew by. So my months are really focused on helping the Social Stories members and the pro members really get the holiday going in a strong way. And it's been exciting to see them hit their goals, trying new and different things. It's been great. I am remembering to lean in and take some time to enjoy life as well too. The Christmas tree's not up yet. Megan Hatter's up if you're watching the podcast on YouTube. But I gotta get the Christmas tree up because last year it was up in October. It was a special year. Christmas tree needs to go up. Very excited about the holidays in all sorts of different ways. So if you're not feeling excited about the holidays, find something in the month of gratitude to make you happy. It could be this what you consider the smallest thing, like I woke up today. That's actually a really big thing. Find some gratitude in it. Don't pressure yourself to love the holidays. It'll come. And maybe reset the reason you love the season, right? When we were about 10, it might be 15, 20 years ago. Now my dad got tired of the commercialism of Christmas. Funny since I'm in retail to say that, right? In this sense, in a way with y'all. But we started going on trips every Christmas. So we would go away, no gifts. We just leave the country and go somewhere for Christmas. And it really brought back all of the goodness. You can't recreate your childhood memories in Christmas. Mine were fantastic. I loved them. But that can't ever be recreated or replicated, but you can make new memories and they can be as special in their own way. So I hope you find that and you find some joy. And if you are dealing with loss this holiday season, just know that I'm wrapping my arms around you and thinking about you. You're not alone. All right. That's all for this episode of Roxtalks. Thanks so much for listening. And you are not ahead. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it's in the numbers. I'll see you next week for another episode of Roxtalks. Take care.